Well, my cats.
Yeah. I'm a little partial to dogs.
I can mind dogs, but like I have 3 cats, and I don't know. It's a personal preference. I don't know.
I hate dogs.
Have, like the longer you have cats, the more you're like, okay, I'm like more.
I've always had.
Siberian Husky.
I want to try to get a dorm cat. Apparently, there's mice on the first floor, so we're hoping we can get
mice
some.
Like last week, and like one of my cats like hunted a mouse, like she's a pure hunter.
I've always had one of each, a dog and a cat. So for me, it depends on the personality. But cats are usually less work.
That's what I like about cats.
Yeah.
I can pretend I have a cat for a week and they'll still be okay. Hi, Julie. Oh, hi, Josh. And Madison. Hi. Hi, Jacob.
Hi, Sam.
He's got
Sam,
his cat.
you have your cat? Here's my cat.
Nice. Cat club.
Sam, what's your cat's name?
Welcome to Cat Club.
His name is Karloff.
Karloff. Okay.
As in Boris Karloff?
Exactly. We used to watch old horror movies all the time, so we named a cat after him.
There are some cats that are horror movies. my brother, my older brother had cats in his career, didn't have dogs, and he had a book in his house, 101 uses for a dead cat. Our brother's had sort of a sick humor, has a sort of a sense of sick humor, but he's always loved cats. It's just an interesting book.
Some cats are horror movies, and the rest are just demons in flesh.
They have personality. What do you mean?
If they leave you alone, they're fine. You know, this cat right here, he's 14. He likes to sleep on the corner of my bed every night. Redemption. That's a nice name for Bunny.
That's a good dog.
There you go.
We haven't had her for very long. Just a little over a month.
Redemption, that's cool. I like beagles. Let him grow up.
We think she's what's called a pocket beagle, which is where breeders will take runts of a litter or puppies in the litter that have dwarfism and breed them. And so she's a little extra short. That's what we think it is.
Fit in a pocket? Is that what it?
Just smaller.
Then I can bring it to class. No one would know.
Hey, yes. That'd be fun.
This is my beagle. Sits in my little shirt pocket.
We had a student a few years ago that had a comfort dog that would come to class with her. I think it was a German Shepherd, pretty good sized dog. But very gentle, very good. You just couldn't touch it. You didn't want to distract it. All right, Mike.
Professor?
Pardon?
Just, you know what? Just in case someone actually does have a pocket beagle in their pocket, we better make sure we have break time on time.
Yes. Well, you can always step away from the camera too if there's a need. Shoot. All right, it's 1 o'clock here, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of us online, 14 with me. We'll have a few more join on, and then there's a number that can't make it anytime that we have here. We got our 4th class going on today, all from home, wherever your home is at this point, whether it's the dorm or sitting in your home or like me last week, sitting in a motel room in Florida. We're going to present talks 3 and 4. Now I have, and I'm going to try it with my files that here. A number of you had sent in files, submitted files, loaded them into Canvas, and I downloaded the file. I think is what I'm going to try. They're on a thumb drive. And I'm going to try to upload as many as I can figure out how to put them in my computer so we all can see them. If you have access to your file, you recorded your talk 3 or 4, and have that loaded, and when I go around and say, who's next type thing, we'll let you just screen share. We'll figure that out together. Or if someone has planned to just present your talk right now, that would be great. We will all share and encourage you. And some interesting topics, as I've heard, just the opening of people that have presented. We're going to go to D-Day for one of the people that we have here. And imagine we're on the beaches there of Normandy. Any questions anybody have? Let me continue on. Anybody question to have on assignments? Next week, we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about the talk preparation process for longer talks. We're going to talk about introductions and conclusions, supporting your ideas using media, and then I'm going to introduce talk 5. We'll come back that week after on February 16th, and you're going to present talk 5, and that'll mean you've got to upload your outline. No manuscript required with the final 3 talks, unless you want to, but that's your own desire for what you're going to use when you present the talk. But an outline and at least one media, a PowerPoint presentation or an object or a picture or a handout that you'd make available to us through Canvas. Now in Canvas, there are links for each of those media and each of those talks. And one person asked, I think it was Harrison, asked, there is that presentation link in, I'm calling a link tab in Canvas. You don't use that at all. I upload any things that I have to communicate back to you when I'm grading. I don't do anything with the shorter talks. I just put comments down in the box. With the longer talks, I'm actually going to upload a file that I use for every person. I fill it in as I listen to you present your talk. But that's all that goes in the presentation. But if you're ever in doubt as to where to upload something, find a spot and let me know what you did, and we'll find it in Canvas. There is what I'm thinking of. All right. Anybody else have a question?
So I have one question on that presentation thing that you use, but we don't. It looks like Canvas has already marked it late. I'd rather not lose 10% of my grade on it, but. Nope.
Don't worry about it. It's just the way I had to set it up. In that I don't know when people are going to make their presentations 5, 6, and 7. I sometimes push them down the road as assignments, so don't worry about that. Ask a specific question, anybody, in Canvas as you look at that. Should I be doing something? I'm late, but I don't know what to do. That's a good question to ask. All right, I have in the schedule sections in the textbook to read for this next week, chapters 9, 10, 12, and 13 that will reference the introductions and conclusions and use of media, as well as a talk to inform. Evaluation 5, 6, and 7. 7's the final one. Where you're putting it all together. You're going to listen to a TED Talk. 5 and 6 are about media. You're going to develop checklists for yourself on one of them. That's number 6. Study question 5, and then watch the extra video on setup. Just some details that we don't have time and don't want to cover here in class, but to think about when you're given a talk, what's the setup like? What's the room like? What's the lectern like that I'm using? So some good information to think through and jot some notes down. Well, let me lead us in a word of prayer, and then let's listen to your awarding and honoring. Let's pray together. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your love to us today. And Lord, we want to share that love with all kinds of people. So give us that wherewithal and that boldness to talk to others in ways that encourage them and point them to you by how we act and the love that we share. Father, now bless the students as they present and as we help one another, that we learn a little bit more about how to be comfortable in front of others. That's part of it, how to present confidence. And Lord, we want to do that well because we're confident in what you could do through us. But Lord, bless this time together as we learn a little bit more for Jesus' sake. Amen. Amen. All right, let me, if you're uploading files that you could share with us later, that's fine. But let me try to share some files. Someone tried to talk me through last time how to do that. I think I go to the share file icon, right? And then I just go to browse my computer. And then how do I actually share it? Oh, wow.
If you see it, like, and when it says browse your computer, can you click on it and see if it'll share?
Yeah, all of a sudden those things aren't there. All right, let's go to the other thing. Wow. I can't see them at all. Is that because they aren't?
Do you have the thing you want to share already open on your computer?
No, I don't.
If you open it up, that'll probably help.
It does. I should know this, but I don't. Does Teams only load certain kinds of files? Because I go to the section where I have the files, and I can't see any file. I can't see anything.
I mean, there theoretically could be some file that wouldn't load, but if you open up the file and then try and share your screen after you have it open, I'm guessing that'd help a lot, because you would have, then it's just looking to share what you already have open.
Right. Let me try. Emily DeCock is the first one. Oh, come on, Emily, stop. Now maybe you can hear her talking. You can't see her talking yet, right? Or did anybody not hear that at all?
I don't think I heard anything. If you're sharing, you would want to tell it to share the computer audio as well as the picture.
Okay. Browse my computer. Now, wait a minute. Content from camera, or am I sharing screen?
Currently,
no.
Now you're sharing your screen.
Yep.
So now just try opening up whatever you want to share.
Well, that's where I'm going. I'm going down to that file. Can you see that?
Yep,
Emily?
we can see that.
Oh. You know, let's make sure we get sound, because you said you didn't hear sound. Let's see. Did you hear that?
No, we do not hear it.
You don't hear it. Cool.
So I think you'll have to probably stop sharing, assuming your volume's up, right? If your volume is muted, we wouldn't hear you anyway.
Where am I going? I'm going to Teams. Is it a setting that I have to look for in Teams with the volume?
Yeah, I think here. Can you share your team screen real quick?
Yeah. You just had it. So,
am I back? You're seeing me.
Yep. Well, we're seeing a bunch of people right now, but then
I'm down the corner. Okay, I got that.
So if you click the share screen icon,
Uh-huh.
in the top right corner, do you see a little toggle button thing that says something like share computer audio?
It says include computer sound.
Yes, you want to turn that on.
I got it on.
Otherwise, it thinks you want to share your screen, but not your audio.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm learning here. So this is Emily DeCock.
And once you have that toggled on, you should be able to do the exact same thing you did before by sharing your screen and then pulling up her video.
All right, so let's show the screen. That didn't do any good. Now, can you see Emily now?
We see her. If you play it, we theoretically might be able to hear her.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Are you
My
hearing
name is Emily D.
Yep, perfect.
And it is my privilege to award the final most prestigious award of the day. The award for Best Dorm Pet is not easily earned. To achieve this award, they must work 24/7 and make daily sacrifices in order to serve and love the students around them. In order to receive this award, the council evaluated all the dorm pets and their impact on the campus. We have many dorm pets, such as Gary the Goose and Willie the Worm, but only one of them met the mark for this award this year. All of our dorm pets do so much for our campus. Let's take a moment to thank Gary the Goose, who helps keep insects away, and Willie the Worm, who serves us even when we can't see him underground, where he works hard to maintain our soil to keep our campus plants lively. Although these pets do a lot for us, only one pet met all of the qualifications. In order to receive this award, this pet must be friendly to all, care about our students and fervently, and have a servant's heart. And this pet did just that. This pet is always working hard to keep the dorm safe, even with a friendly face. He remains calm and collected, even when some new students are afraid of him. He respects all students' space and stays far away from our cars. He stays out of the way of others, which shows responsibility and respect. Additionally, he walks around campus to ensure no mischief occurs. In fact, he does this so well and stays so focused, he often finds himself lacking in the social skills department. He is just that dedicated to our safety. This pet even keeps the campus clean. He eats any food or trash that is left out to do so. Wow, isn't this pet just so thoughtful and considerate? He has such a servant's heart, which is rooted in his love for the Lord. He could not be with us today because he is so dedicated to our campus. So here is a picture of this year's recipient of Best Pet of the Year, Kyle the Possum. Thanks for joining us.
Great. All right, now how do I get back to everybody here? I stopped sharing screen so we can talk together. Good, thank you, Emily. What did y'all like? Now we're, maybe before we talk a little bit, we want to encourage one another. What was something you liked about the presentation, as well as then the details, the clarity, the criteria, her presence, her voice. What did you like though? How did Emily do? Somebody jump in.
I think Kyle earned that award.
And bringing it together to make you kind of engage and want to know what this creature is, and only revealing it at the end. So it was kind of suspense to see. Yeah,
I mentioned a bunch of different ones. Cool. Somebody else.
I thought it was a really, really fun and creative subject.
Very creative. She held her composure. She didn't laugh, and I would be laughing halfway through jokes that I tell sometimes. So that was very well done. She really did well. Cool. All right, let me see if I can call up another one here. How did I do that? I go to share, and I find the file first and put it in my computer. Is that what we're doing? Oh, no.
Yeah. And one other important thing we should probably mention when sharing screens is if you have anything you don't want us to see on your computer, close it beforehand. Makes sense? So basically, if the faculty has an email saying we're expelling Chris from school, you don't want to have it open and share it with us.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Okay, they already sent that email.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Okay. So now I'm looking back at the rest of my computer. What do I have? I just have Canvas open because I don't know if we could show Canvas. Macy Horton is there in Canvas, did it? All right, I've got Harrison uploaded. Let me go back to Teams here if I can get out of this here. I go to share screen, and now I've got to find Harrison. Can you all see Harrison?
Yes, we can.
Cool. Can you hear Harrison?
I cannot. I think you might have to tell it to share your audio every single time you share.
That's what I was wondering.
Which kind of makes sense so that you don't ever want to share your audio and then accidentally share audio you didn't want to send, that kind of thing. But
yes, sir. And he was real soft. Maybe that's just his recording. I've got my volume all the way up here in the volume in that software. Let's see if we can hear it. Here's Harrison.
Hello, my name is Harrison Wolf, and today I will be presenting the All-District Band. To get this award, one must be an All-District Band 3 years in a row and get first chair each time on the instrument of their choosing. A recent recipient of this award was my brother, Charles Wolf. He met these requirements on the French horn. Some other accomplishments of his include also making all-district choir and orchestra on the French horn as well. He also is a member of the Kansas City Youth Symphony and has got first chair on French horn 2 years in a row there. He also made all-state band. Without further ado, please congratulate Charles.
Charles. Okay, great.
Hello, my name is
Oh, stop you, Harrison. There we go. Cool. All right. Now I'm figuring out I can just tap on that. All right, that was Harrison Wolf. Let me go back. Did I stop sharing now so you can see? If I don't stop sharing, what are you seeing? You're not seeing me or anybody else, are you?
If you don't stop sharing, we see whatever your computer screen has in front of you.
Okay, well, I'm seeing you. You should be able to see. Harrison Wolf did an award. How do you do? What'd you like? When it comes to a talk to award, did he make the criteria clear? Yeah. Yeah, the volume was real low for me. Maybe you couldn't hear everything. He talked about the recipient. He talked about another recipient that had received it, so people could have some recognition, and then focused in on the specific recipient. Cool. Let's go to another one.
One thing I thought was interesting, I didn't know that other cities had a youth orchestra because I'm down here in South Carolina and I'm part of the Greenville City Youth Orchestra. So I thought that was interesting that Kansas City had one too.
You bet.
Yeah, Kansas City's got one. I think we kind of looked at it for me, but I'm pretty sure all the rehearsals were on Sunday on the far side of town from where I live. So basically, it's like, well, we couldn't make practice, at which point you can't really be in symphony.
Can't really do it if you can't be there. All right, if I can share the screen again, here's Julie Vanderwoude. Can you see her?
Yes.
We can see her. We'll see if we can hear her.
Speech on presenting.
We can hear her.
Good.
Hello, my name is Julie Vanderwoude, and I have the honor of presenting this year's Baker Award. This award is named after Thomas Baker, who ran with Calvary's cross-country team for 5 years and coached for 19 years. Thomas Baker's legacy still lives on at Calvary, as he was a runner and coach of integrity and godly principles. This is the 15th year that the Baker Award has been given out, and it's offered to the cross-country runner who best represents values of integrity and good sportsmanship while also maintaining excellent running times throughout the season. Our winner this year has achieved all of this despite being out for part of the season due to a broken toe. Even through the hardship, she continued to support her teammates and came back to running as soon as she was able. She came back strong and has continued to show perseverance and skill in her time running at Calvary University. So please help me in congratulating our winner of this year's Baker Award, Emma Cathcart.
Hey, Emma, she did it. Thank you, Emma. Now I've got a bad network quality. Maybe you missed some of that because it wouldn't share content. No. Now where am I at? Are you seeing me? There's a little arrow at the top of the share screen. Somebody help me think that when it changes. No, it doesn't.
I think it has the arrow to show you can point something to the class or something, and then it has an X to say you can stop. But other than that, it should be the same.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. You're seeing everybody now.
Nope, we see everybody.
Okay, good. We're back at it. Let's talk about Julie. How'd she do? An award, the cross country. Anybody have a word of encouragement? How'd she do?
I really liked how she gave a good history of the award before she presented and what it was about really well.
Yeah, especially with a named award like that, people wonder, who is this person? You know, that's getting that we're giving the award in their name. I thought it was good too. Did we know, as you're listening to it, you're there at awards banquet, would you know the person? Well, she gave some details. Oh, broke her leg or something like that. Something happened to her. But then it still hides that to the, oh, wow, she's narrowing it down to that person. And then everybody's joining with her. All right, let me put another one up. I'm just doing all the talk 3, and then we'll do talk 4 here. After this is Lorraine. Let's stop Lorraine here. Make sure I got everything set up in Teams. All right, you should see Lorraine Wanch.
Thank you for joining us today in celebration of Cecilia Wanch's extraordinary success and amazing talent and passion. Most best artists in Nebraska. This Scholastic is one of the hardest art competitions in the United States. She had to make sure her projects were unique because the judges want your own ideas and they want something new that they've never seen before. Cecilia was facing top-notch artists that were amazing at their art. That didn't stop her from doing the things she loves to do. She dedicated her nights and days to do this art project for this art competition. Cecilia made this beautiful artwork and it took time doing it. It was a lot of work, but it paid off in the end. The year before, she got 2 silver keys and another award that she got in the past. This time, she wanted to try something bigger and achieve her dream in getting a golden key, because a lot of artists don't get this award that often. Cecilia's art is beyond compare of any art that I've ever seen before. Her ability to make something so beautiful that it makes people cry and smile with joy. Cecilia loves being an artist and drawing the things she loves. She loves making people smile when they're drawing someone from the past. That's a moment that she loves being an artist. We are honoring her for this award because she worked hard for this, and she deserves to be celebrated for doing a fine job at making a beautiful masterpiece. Let's take a moment to welcome her up as she shows us her beautiful artwork. Give it up for Cecilia Morse, the most talented artist ever.
Hey, there she goes. That's good. Let me get back. All right, Pascal, how did Doreen do? What'd you like?
I like how she highlighted the difficult, not just how difficult it is to get the award, but how good the competition was. She didn't just say, somebody showed up and I guess they win. It was she actually worked hard to get what she got.
Yeah, I jotted that down too. The competition talked well of everybody. These 2 talks, one to award, one to commemorate, we go to talk 4, both have to be honoring of everybody, like you just observed, and then definitely honoring of the recipient. Let me make just a comment. Speaking in this medium where we're just speaking to a camera, we don't have an audience, we don't see a response from the people, but our voice too. And I've realized this as I'm doing this, as I'm seeing other people doing it. Make sure you speak clearly. You got to try to imagine you're in the class. So Lorraine, here's a comment for you. Just give it a little bit more volume than you would think is comfortable. And I know there are people in the other rooms, so you do what you think is right. But try to imagine you're in a larger room. So project and speak with confidence. At the end of her sentences, here's another part of it. When we get quiet, we tend to either fade at the end of sentences or clip them. And it stops. We don't give all the words, we might say. So just an observation there for us all. Let me go to another one. I think. No, that's all of talk 3. Anyone in the room, you have your video and you could share it with us and we'll encourage you. Did anyone load your talk 3 video? If you did a talk 3, that's what I'm focused on right now.
I have mine prepared if you want me to do mine.
Yeah, if you're ready to do it, you bet. Hello, Demetrius.
Hi, Demetrius.
Hey, you guys made it back. Where did you stop last night because of the snow?
So
they were out of the, pardon?
We ended up stopping. We just trucked right through it. It was coming down pretty hard, but we just kept going until we got here really late, early this morning. So
real early this morning. Well, glad you all are back safely. And where did you go? Where was the game?
Oh man. Mobley.
You went and played, that's the main thing.
I think it's in Mobley.
Mobley? Okay, good. Glad to have you back. All right, who's ready to get their talk?
I can give mine.
Chris, you got it? So Chris.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christopher Locke, and I am here to present to you the winner of the Expository Preaching Award.
Huh.
Here at Calvary University, we pride ourselves in studying the Bible correctly. However, in pastoral ministry, it is not just important to know the Word of God, but it is also important to have a desire to teach others the Word of God. This award is given each year to an individual who is not only skilled in preaching, but who also exhibits a shepherd's heart. 1 Corinthians 13:1 says, "If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong and a clanging cymbal. Reading this verse, we are reminded of why we preach. Not to speak beautiful words or to deliver eloquent sermons, but we do it out of love for others. Great pastors are more than great preachers. They are men who care for those to whom they preach. This is why we give the Expository Preaching Award, to recognize the individual who shows these qualities, someone who not only studies the scripture, but has the desire to effectively teach others what it means. This year's recipient has truly earned this award. He is not only a godly man, but he has a shepherd's heart. This man has never been too far from the pulpit. He began preaching at the age of 14 and realized his gift for preaching that God had given him. He ended up coming here to Calvary because he felt God was calling him to become a pastor, and he could not deny the call of God. I remember meeting this individual for the first time my freshman year and taking hermeneutics class along with him. It was in this class I first realized this man's gift for both studying scripture and explaining it. I have personally seen this individual spend days studying one passage of scripture just so that he could fully understand it and that he could teach others what it fully means. I can say through my friendship with this individual, I've been personally inspired to not only grow in my personal relationship with Christ, but also to study scripture further. I have no doubt wherever God takes this individual, he'll be able to teach and inspire those around him, just like he has done for me and all of his fellow classmates. So with such a desire to teach others about God and his word, it is no wonder why this individual has earned this award. So please join in welcoming this year's Expository Preaching Award recipient, Eli Holmes.
Hey, we welcome Eli. Very good guy. All right, how'd Chris do? What'd you like for a Talk to Award?
I really like how Chris was like, he applied his personal impact from this recipient. I really liked how, because with being like awarding someone, you have to like apply like how it really impacted you personally. So I really like how Chris did that.
Yeah, as you know the person and can share an appropriate personal example, shoot, yeah, encouraging. Anybody else comment?
I like how he used a Bible verse.
Yeah. Yeah. What did it do for you? How did it help there, Chloe?
I think it just really added to what the award was for and supported it better.
Yeah, gave it that tone of seriousness as well as what I was thinking when I heard that. I like that too, jotted that down. Anyone else have talk number 3? You're ready to give it or willing to give it here?
I do have my talk.
You do, Demetrius? You ready? Could you do it now?
Yeah, give me one.
Now, it's either that you're going to show your video or you're actually going to present the award now like Chris did.
I'm going to present it just as Chris did.
Okay, good, cool. Whenever you're ready, give us a shout out.
Okay, awesome. So just backstory, this is a Pete Maravich award given here in the NCCAA student athletes. So here we go. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Pete Maravich Award is given to NCCA student athletes who exemplify excellence in competition, life skills, academic excellence, and faithful to the call of Christ. I'm sorry. Hello?
I'm guessing his internet went down again.
All right, we'll just keep on trucking, y'all. All right.
You know what, Professor? He did perfect. He's done. It's all great.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Oh, shoot, sorry.
I will restart.
Hey, sorry.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Pete Maravich Award is given to NCCA student athletes who exemplify excellence in competition, life skills, academic excellence, and in faithful obedience to the call of Christ. This award was established in 1989 by the National Christian College Athletic Association to encourage Christian to encourage Christian athletes to reflect Christ-like character in their sport, academics, and social life. This award is presented every year to one athlete within the two divisions of the NCCAA organization. These divisions include Division I and Division II. Though this award is given to two recipients in their respective divisions, there is great value in being given this award. Former recipients include Grace University's Adam Kriegel and former Johnson's player Taylor Giblin, who have also achieved great accomplishments. This year's recipient has shown Christ-like character on the basketball court and off the court. He is a 2-year captain of Johnson University, Tennessee men's basketball team. He is a 2-time first-team All-American. He has scored over 2,000 career points and is Johnson's 3rd all-time leading scorer. He has a degree in sports and fitness. He has received the President's Scholarship and has been on the Dean's List honoree every semester. He is a full-time volunteer with the Emerald Youth Foundation in Knoxville, Tennessee. He has used his theological and ministry training to preach at many churches in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, or in his hometown, Hampton, Tennessee. He is also recognized as the NCCAA Scholarship Athlete. Please join me in welcoming today's Pete Maravich recipient, Kobe Jones.
Kobe Jones, cool. There we go. Great. All right, how did Demetrius do? What'd you like?
I liked how you gave a history of the award and some of the qualifications for it. Again, like Professor said, if they have a name for the award, knowing who the person was and what in the world it means is actually worthwhile.
Yeah, really. Anybody else?
I liked how you described the individual who got the award, and you really made me realize like they've earned this award.
Yeah, Troy, you were going to say something.
And explaining previous award winners too, so you kind of know the background of the award.
Yeah, put it into context. I like you heard him give details. You know, this is definitely one of those talks in which we want to give appropriate details. They weren't. I mean, I think you used the number 1,000 or 2,000, something like Demetrius. I go, okay, I can see that. I can grasp that. We got to watch out for the real detailed numbers. You didn't do that. I'm just reminding us what we need to do. So rounding it off helps to capture it. And it puts it in that context. Wow, 2,000 of them, or 1,000, whatever the number was. You know, you understand if you're a basketball person. I don't, but that sounds great. From an outsider's impression or outsider's context. But somebody on the inside, wow, they really know the significance of that. So good details. Someone else, you ready to give talk number 3? All right, that might mean the rest of us are talk number 4. We got another 10, 15 minutes here in this hour. Let's go into talk number 4 then. I'll try to do the same with uploading the files from my side. Here's Alyssa Payne. You're here, Alyssa. We're just going to show your video. Include the sound, show the screen. And here's Alyssa Payne giving talk number 4.
Hi guys, I have chosen talk number 4 to commemorate. And the person I will be commemorating is Kathleen Holderman. The context of my connection to Kathleen, or Kathy as I knew her, is that Kathy and her husband Jim were like a third set of grandparents to my siblings and I growing up. We started out as just the kids who were helping them clean and do odd jobs. And pretty soon they were supporting and encouraging us through our first couple of years of college. And eventually a couple of us, my siblings, supported them and cared for them during their last few years of life. So this presentation is something like what was shared at Kathy's funeral. Good afternoon, friends and family who have gathered to celebrate the life of Kathleen Holderman. For all who knew and loved her, the name Kathleen Holderman is synonymous with an unforgettable love and generosity. Every person she encountered was treated as a friend from the first moment they met her. Her infectious kindness was felt in her freely offered smile, her mischievous brown eyes, her ready laughter, and lifestyle of gratitude. Kathleen Ann was born to John and Maxine Humphrey on February 18, 1948. Her sisters, Mary, Phyllis, and Barbara, would soon follow, making Kathy a devoted and protective older sister. She graduated from high school in June of 1966 and soon met James Holderman, a fellow employee of the railroad she was working for at the time. James and Kathleen, fondly referred to by their friends and family as Jim and Kathy, were married on May 23, 1970. While Jim continued working for the railroad, Kathy built a career in the administrative offices of Ford Motor Company, based in Plymouth, Michigan. In 2000, Jim and Kathy retired to their newly built dream home near Kathy's favorite childhood vacation spot on Lake Huron in Harrisville, Michigan. Throughout her retirement, Kathy cared for her husband Jim, doted on her Doxy Sid, and loved on her many friends. All who knew Jim and Kathy quickly became their longtime friends. From their doctors and nurses, to Sid's veterinary staff, to the neighbors down the street, or the homeschooled kids who helped them with odd jobs. Not one of them was left untouched by Kathy and Jim's love and generosity, their gratitude. Kathy went ahead of us to heaven on December 28, 2019, leaving an incredible impact of love on all who knew her. With her memory comes a challenge to all who have been touched by her life to carry forward her kindness, her love, and her generosity. Thank you to everyone who has joined Kathy's family and friends in the celebration of her life today.
Cool. Thank you, Alyssa. They got back. Oh.
I think his internet just died.
Does that mean class is canceled?
Yeah! So that means I'm
Yay! Class
Y'all
is
get a
good.
0.
Oh, come on.
Give it 15 minutes.
Yeah, he's got 15 minutes.
He's got 15 minutes for his internet to work. If it's not done in 15 minutes, we're all leaving.
Oh, the weather.
Good job, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chloe.
With that, Chloe, you just became the new teacher.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I'm muted. Did you all stay on and I dropped off? Is that what it was?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. It must be my internet here. I'm switching to another internet provider here at home because of this very issue. So they haven't
It's okay.
solved the problem for me.
We were
Anyway.
just democratically
But
electing a new
I heard
teacher.
Alyssa. Hey, that's good. Well, have fun and have at it. Do it.
Did it happen
To
again?
honor? Oh, no, honor. Who's the class leader? Just be ready in case I fall off again. That's the question. How did Alyssa do?
Nominated Chloe. Great.
Yeah, Chloe. Okay. And redemption. We got to have redemption in there. So how did Alyssa do? Let's encourage her.
I think she did a good job. I liked how it was someone that she was actually connected to and had a background with.
Yeah, Alyssa, you in a funeral, somebody usually gives a eulogy where you say where they were born, their family, and when did they pass away, and a lot of details in the middle. And that would be excellent for that And then others come up and give very specific memories, but you also shared personal things there. Was there a theme when you put a talk to commemorate or honor, if it's someone or if it's an event? What's a focal point? Did Alyssa have a focal point or a couple of them? What did you hear?
It was to celebrate Kathy's life after she died.
But what about Kathy? Was there something about her that Alyssa picked up on? You don't always have to do that. That helps people to see this person. Go ahead. Sam, say it again.
One that I caught was how, she and her husband, everyone was automatically their friend.
Yeah, I heard friendship at the beginning. I heard the word love for everybody. So those two themes, and those help you as you're thinking of the examples that you want to give of either the occasion or the person. That helps people put a handle on it. What you saw, somebody else maybe saw something else. They affected them differently, but that's honoring to them. And so good job. Let's go to another one here. Got a few more minutes. Clay Williams. Get Clay's. Hang on, Clay. We'll get you back here in a second. All right, Clay Williams here.
I cannot hear him.
Voice.
Oh. I forgot. We're going to have to start Clay over again here, gang. I forgot the button at the top. Now you should be able to hear him. Can you see him? Can you
Not yet.
No, not yet.
What did I not do? Oh, I didn't hit the screen. Now you should see him.
Yep.
Right? Good.
Yep, we see him.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming out to celebrate a man who had never wavered in achieving his dreams. His endurance and strength not only won him $1 million, but he has become the 4th person ever to achieve total victory in this competition. Tyler Bungard has achieved one of the greatest things of his life, winning the hit show American Ninja Warrior. Throughout season 14 of the show, Tyler fought ferociously and wholeheartedly against all obstacles that came in his way, no matter how daunting they appeared to be. Before the season even started, Tyler went on to build every obstacle in order to train properly. Winning this show has been a dream of his, and there is no free moment where he would not be training to make this dream a reality. The competition was fierce, with even Drew Dreschel, the most recent winner of the competition, returning. When compared to him, though, Tyler had him beaten every point in the course. Tyler and Drew fought all the way up until stage 3, where every obstacle was made completely new and had never been seen before in the show. This is where Drew failed after only getting through the second obstacle of the course. Tyler, though, was able to complete every one of them without even breaking a sweat. All that was left for Tyler was the final stage, Mount Midoriyama, which had been rumored to be doubled in size since Drew's victory long ago. When Tyler approached the last leg of his journey, those watching thought it would be impossible for anyone to make this, but Tyler made it look like a small hill to everybody else. Throughout the year, Tyler had never wavered in his determination, endurance, and strength. And Tyler had set aside many hours training his body and mind in order to make it to this point. And today, we are going to take the time to celebrate this monumental achievement in his life. Thank you, Tyler, for being such an inspiration to every one of us. And once again, congratulations.
Hey, there you go. Cool. What'd you all like? How did Clay do?
I love how he narrated it, how he kind of described the reason why we're celebrating, Tyler.
And how did that come across there, Zach? Say a little bit.
He was explaining the hard work that he had to endure and just the competition and just going through that and just really acknowledging his success.
Yeah, he told a story. You heard one guy was competing with him and fell out, and he's still pursued and fought. Anybody else have a comment? He used words. This is where it helps us when we manuscript a short talk like this, write it out so we say the words. We don't want to overstate, so we watch our adjectives and adverbs with the verbs, the action, but yet we use them appropriately to describe the person and describe the event. He never wavered in achieving his dream was to start ferociously, obstacles, small hill, seemed like a small hill to him. A number of things that he said. Very good. Well, we're just about 10 up. Let me do one more, and then we'll take a break here. Faith Graham.
Stay.
All right, Faith, stay by.
You're still sharing your screen from last time, so you were already ready to go. And now you're not sharing the screen anymore.
How did I do that?
I think you forgot to stop sharing.
I forgot to stop sharing. Is it still sharing or is it not?
Nope, now we see everybody.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm learning, but not well enough, evidently.
On the upside, we'll figure it out, and then we'll all get to go come back to class again. It'll be perfect.
Yes, right. Then we won't use it anymore. Is Faith, you're able to see Faith? Do you see her
Correct.
now?
Yep.
All right.
Today we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of Dave and Christy. Now, 28 years is a long time to be together with someone, but through everything they have experienced, they have only grown in love for each other. Every marriage goes through their good moments and their rough moments, and sometimes those trials can unfortunately cause divorce, but not with Dave and Christy. Every moment, no matter how hard it was, has brought them closer together, and they've gotten through it together, as a marriage should be. When you say your vows, part of it is that you say that you will be with that person in sickness and in health. This is exactly what Dave and Christy did. More than the average person, they've had to deal with health issues together. And every step of the way, they were with each other. They also went through a lot to be able to create a family and be loving parents. And no matter how hard these situations got, they were always there for each other, and they always had full support no matter what was going on. They also make every day an adventure. Now, these adventures don't include your average hiking or maybe traveling across the country, but they make every moment together fun and joyful. Even if it's just running simple trips to the grocery store, it brings them joy and it brings them happiness because they're able to spend that time together, and that just brings them closer in love and helps them to grow that love that they have and celebrating 28 years.
Great. Thank you, Faith. All right. All right, we're back. How did Faith do? It was an anniversary honoring, I heard 25th anniversary, I think. How did she do? What'd you like?
I like how she focused on how they were, even when they had struggles and difficulties and didn't always get to go do some of the things other people did, they still worked really well together. I thought it was interesting. I also liked how she said, sometimes this leads to divorce, and all I could think of was, oh no. And then she was like, but they didn't. I'm like, oh, okay, good. When if you're doing the 25/8, whatever it was, anniversary speech, and you're like, and also they're getting divorced, that doesn't really work well, but the little bit of suspense actually worked really well.
No. What did that bring? It brought an element of reality. When I did the funeral last week for Carl, one of the daughters sent me an email. I did the funeral on Tuesday, so we had class on Wednesday. The daughter said, Dad traveled a lot. I mean, that's part of what she said. So was he there for me emotionally and physically? No. But, and then she went on with the but and talked about those things that she really remembered and appreciated and was going to miss. So yeah, we put a little reality in a talk really helps, because nobody's perfect. And we say that, and especially if there's a context where like in a funeral, boy, this person really had a big failure in life, and everybody knows it. All right, you acknowledge it by saying, no, he wasn't perfect, but, and then you go on and you focus on the positive, not to ignore the other part, but to put it in context. We're here to honor, not to tear somebody down. So like you said, Josh, she didn't leave it at, yeah, but they're going to get a divorce now. We didn't want that. All right, let's take a 10-minute break. I'll shut off the screen here so everybody can wander around. I can wander around and chew the rest of my sandwich from lunch, and then we'll come back in 10 minutes.
What is happening?
All right, we're coming back up. All right, we're coming back on. People are back up here at 2 o'clock. Let me load up another talk. This is Josh Barr. Josh, are you back up yet? And there's 5 more. Oh, he's not back up. All right, we'll go with who we have here. Now, let me ask, Chloe and Troy, you're there. Are you seeing my Canvas screen right now?
Yes.
I am.
You are. Good. Then I can show Macy, and I forget what she did. I was just thinking I couldn't show Canvas. I can. All right, she did number 4. So let me, if you can see her, or you can see my Canvas screen, let me call her up. Can you see her now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, you're seeing Macy. Good. All right, this is Macy Horton. Need a piece of paper. Look at this. And let's listen to Macy.
Somebody who is strong is typically described as someone who is big and physically.
I missed the beginning.
To visualize somebody who is strong is typically described as someone who is big and physically strong, someone who defies the laws of gravity with their ways of lifting heavy things without breaking a sweat. I, however, picture an elderly man who has lost most of his hearing, walks with a limp, and can barely see the faded tattoos on his arms. A husband, a father of 2, a Navy veteran, and a granddad of 7 is the toughest man that I have ever met. Tommy Horton joined the Navy as a young man with no prior knowledge, was thrown into working on a repair ship. He was active duty for 4 years and then in the reserves for 6 years. After the Navy, he worked in a machine shop, and while working, he was in an explosion that resulted in his leg being blown up. So the doctors told him that he would never walk again. To this, he simply replied, I have a family to provide for. So he was out of work for 6 months, but he only used crutches during that 6 months, and he used a cane for not long after and walked completely without any help of anyone or anything. So during that time of bed rest, he also learned how to paint and is a great artist. Later on in his life, he actually also learned how to glass etch. And so Tommy Horton is a gruff and very tough man that many find intimidating. I, however, do not see him this way. When I look at him, I flash back to my soccer games, and I see him sitting on the sidelines in his lawn chair cheering me on. I see a storyteller who sits in his rocking chair and tells 5-year-old me to come sit in his lap while he tells his stories. Perhaps it was so that he could hear us if we had questions or to hear our responses, but in my eyes, it's always a memory. Because of my granddad, I know that I can do things that are hard. I know that even when I have no clue what's going on, I can be thrown into something and learn quickly. And in the face of adversity, I can overcome things because he did that all the time. So my granddad, although he is not known to be the sweetest man, he is the toughest man that I have ever met and that I've ever known. And although his health has never been good, and he walks with a limp now and can barely hear a scream from an inch away, I am convinced this strong-willed man will outlive me.
Good, cool.
To visualize somebody who is strong is typically...
How do I get out of this one now? Here we go. All right, am I back from screaming, or can you still see Macy?
It looks like we're seeing each other.
Yeah, you're back seeing each other. Good. What did you like? How did Macy do?
I like how she chose her grandpa as the example. You could really tell just how much she loves him and all the things that he's gone through. It's really interesting to hear his story.
Yeah, what was the theme? Chloe, what did you hear?
The theme was strength and how he's super tough, even though people might not think that he is because of everything that he's gone through and how he can't hear and can't walk very well.
Yeah, it sounds like he is sort of a tough guy as how he moves toward life. He's had a bunch of tough issues, but yet then there is the but, she said, and the context in which he personally influenced her and others. Good. Anybody else? Someone else?
The way she presented it, she was more relaxed and comfortable in the use of her body language.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was going to say that for those that are recording online, when you record, if you can stand up and do what Macy did and stand back, that will not only help you to project a little bit more, it opens up your diaphragm, so you can breathe a little bit better, but allows you to move and gesture and opens up your face and your arms and helps us. Now, some of us have to watch, and I say that some of us have to watch that we don't move too much or move around too much. I had a student in a preaching class once, and he just like a tiger, just paced back and forth and back. That was a little too much, but he had so much energy. So we have energy, use it and use it effectively. And for the rest of us, it'll help us relax a little bit standing up usually. All right, let's go to another one. This one was Josh Barr. I think I have him up already. Yes, I do.
Would you like me to just share live or?
What would you like to do, Josh, yourself?
I mean, I don't know how live will work, but I know I wasn't overly happy with my recording, so why not?
All right, you're going to do it live here. All right, Josh Barr is up.
Want me to do it now or wait?
It's up to you. Are you ready? If not, we can come back to you later.
I think I'm ready.
Okay, you're on.
If I totally screw it up, no big deal, right?
Take your time, take a deep breath, make sure you've got your presence and ready, and do it.
I could get my notes. There we go. It is October 31st, also known as Reformation Day, It is the anniversary of the day that Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the door of the Castle Church in Wittenberg, Germany. This day marks a turning point in Christian and world history. Martin Luther not only hammered a nail into a door, but he also drove a wedge into the narrow gap between church belief and false teaching. It is no coincidence that Luther picked this particular day. This day later became referred to as All Hallows Eve, a sort of precursor to the modern-day Halloween. This was the night before All Saints' Day, the holiday honoring the Catholic saints. Castle Church was home to a large collection of saintly relics, which was to go on display for the holiday so that people could come and pray to them to gain the dead saints' favor. Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to that particular door on that particular day because he knew that many well-educated individuals would be coming to that particular church the following day. Luther intended to start a debate on the specific issue of indulgences, the church's selling of God's merit. If you bought an indulgence from the church, they believed that it would shorten the length of purgatory for either you or the dead relative of your choice. But his idea spread like wildfire, not because of the indulgences, but because of his novel idea that the church might be wrong about something. As individuals looked to Luther's writings on the scriptures, they realized that the church and the Bible were in contention, and the Reformation was born. Luther's long-lasting legacy is a doctrinal heritage that places a high view on the words of Scripture and a very low view on any attempts to add to them. All doctrines are weighed against the Bible itself. While Luther certainly was not perfect, his novel idea that the Bible, and not the Church's decrees, are the inspired words of God has radically shaped Christian doctrine for centuries. Sorry, my phone was ringing there. We celebrate today, Reformation Day, because without the events of October 31st, 1517, we would not have the rich doctrinal heritage and the high view of Scripture that we have today. We remember this day not because of a man with a hammer and a nail, but because of a man with a paper full of ideas, which have radically reshaped the very way that we seek to understand the communications from God himself.
Cool. That's great. I like the wording. What did it take for you to think through? I'm not phrasing the question well. You said something at the beginning about nail in a door, but drove a wedge in, and then you came back and used that imagery. Did you get that from somewhere that you heard, or did you think that up yourself?
I mean, everybody who talks about Reformation Day talks about him driving a nail, but I'm pretty sure that one was at least in my own head.
Okay.
So it took me sitting there staring at a screen for like 15 minutes trying to decide. I mostly got there because I realized before I was going to record on Saturday that I should probably have timed my recording at least once in a practice. Then I realized that I was 15 seconds short. So on like yesterday, after adding 10 seconds of speech length, I was still 15 seconds short. So I was trying to all right, how to add something without like making it just sound stupid. So hopefully I did that.
No, it brings an image, helps us to see something, nailing and the wedge there, as well as the contrast. And it gave you a bookmark or a bookend at either end. It also emphasizes what it should mean for us. And I'm talking here, but anybody else have an observation about Josh?
I really, from how I saw it, don't take this the wrong way. This is actually really good, but with celebrating someone, it's more about, from the emotion part, but this is more informative. This is something from a documentary, and that's something that I really, really like.
I was trying to find that balance.
I know, but it's though you never really personally he never met him personally because he was 400 years ago, but you're giving information, which is really good of celebrating.
Yeah, and it's a holiday we don't think about.
Yeah, on an academic perspective, that's really good.
Yeah, you bet. Now we haven't heard much from those that are out on that you haven't given your picture out. That's okay, but let's hear some comments. Chloe, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that he not only commemorated the event, but he also commemorated Martin Luther at the same time.
Right. That total context for us. Good. All right, let me show another video here. I've got I've got two more, and then anybody in the room, three more maybe. This is Sam Warnock. Now, Sam, you're there. Do you want to do it, or just want us to see your video?
I'm chewing gum right now, so I think it's best to do the video.
All right, we'll do that. Let me see if I can get it all set up again. There's that and that. Oh, I don't need Macy. All right, here's Sam Warnock. You all seeing and hearing?
Okay, cool. So the context. Okay, cool. Now it's recording. Okay. So the context for this speech is I'm basically going to be giving a commemoration speech to the invasion of D-Day. So I guess you could just imagine yourself on the beaches of Normandy, in France, on June 6th, remembering what just happened. And just so I don't cheat, I'm going to actually record the time on my phone of the actual speech and not just the context. Go ahead and start now. Today, we have gathered upon this beach to remember the courageous acts and self-sacrifices that were made here. Back on June 6th, 1944, the largest amphibious invasion ever had occurred. However, the goal of the invaders was not to dominate, but to liberate. During World War II, France had been overrun by the Nazi Germans since 1940, thus leaving the French people under the control of a tyrant, Adolf Hitler. For years, the United States and Great Britain planned to free France from her chains, and that moment finally came on D-Day. Over 156,000 soldiers prepared themselves to storm the beaches of Normandy, but they would not go unopposed. The Nazis had fortified the French coast for years. Despite the Allied forces were faced with a barrage of constant gunfire and vast fortifications for miles. Despite the horrible situation, the militaries of Great Britain and America continued with the operation. In just a single day, there were over 4,000 Allied soldiers who lost their lives, but their sacrifice was not in vain. Britain and the United States had secured the beaches, later leading to the entire liberation of France and the end of the war. The men of D-Day willingly faced the jaws of death so that freedom would endure. They were blown to pieces, bled on the sandy ground, and watched as many of their companions met their end. Although they faced hell on earth, they carried on with courage and self-sacrifice. They died so that others could truly live. Because of their actions, the world as we know it was preserved from the horrendous threat of the Nazis. As such, let us pay our respects to the many heroes that created the better future in which we live. It's my time.
Hey.
It says 2:27, by the way. Hope you liked it.
You did great. Thanks, Sam. All right. Oh, wrong one. Now we're back. All right, what'd you like? How'd Sam do? He's sitting there. That's encouraging. Now, we haven't heard much from anybody. Emma, you're out there. Harrison, you're there. Jacob, any comments from out in the world? You don't have to turn on your camera. You could just turn on your microphone.
I like how Sam had us he kind of created like a vision, like a picture for us, an image to really go off of. And he was very engaged. I could tell he put a lot of thought into it, and it was intentional. It wasn't like he just threw a whole bunch of stuff together, but it was really well thought out, and he presented it well and really honored those who fought in that war. So that was awesome.
Yeah, the context was we're here to honor the people, but yet you want to tell the story, but yet the story's familiar, and there's so many details, like you were saying, Demetrius. What do you focus on? Well, just that to give the picture, then the description of those details, and you said honoring the people, men falling beside them, the blood on the sand. Wow. It definitely was a time for us to think and not a time to kid around, not to talk to kid around, but talk to be serious, but yet positive, because we learned something from it. The impact of the day you had at the end, right? I had a privilege with the Air Force when I was a chaplain. I was a chaplain of a B-1 squadron at Dyess Air Force Base, and they deployed the squadron to England for a month so that the airplanes could fly in the 50th anniversary of D-Day. You know, the weather was bad, so they couldn't actually do it that day. They had to, or they did something different. But one of those times to honor. And so we went to a whole bunch of ceremonies at different cemeteries there around northern France. In England is where I was. I didn't get over to France, but you know, definitely an occasion to honor and others. All right, let me show another one. Sam Wolf. Let me stop at Sam here. Ooh, back up. There's got to be a faster way to do this, I'm sure, but I'm not doing it. All right, let's listen to Sam Wolf as he's doing his talk number 4.
Okay, cool.
No, it's Sam Wolf.
So the context.
Well, where did I write down Sam Wolf? Sam, I gave you the wrong name there. Ah, we don't have a Sam Wolf. It was Sam Warnock. I had you down twice then at the beginning of loading these down. That's what I thought I heard. All right, let's go to Troy Cato. Oh, come on. Am I? It looks like I'm still sharing the screen, am I? Can you see Troy's talk number 4? Hello, what are you all seeing there on the screen?
I can see it.
Yeah. So you all can see it. All right, here's Troy Cato. Caton looks like. Now, Troy, you're here. I'm showing your video. Is that all right?
Overshadowed by the Great War, also known as World War II, and the Vietnam War, the Korean War was, in a sense, forgotten. In fact, it was hardly considered a war at the time. In 1953, Americans, even the veterans themselves, widely regarded the Korean War as anything but a victory. The World War II's greatest generation shaded Korean vets from the public view until the veterans of the Vietnam War took the center stage, making the veterans of Korea more invisible. Even though there were 1.8 million soldiers, they were not noticed. Even though the war was small, it greatly shaped the modern world as we know it today. It all started on June 25th, 1950, when tanks from North Korea crossed into the territory of South Korea. It took a couple of days for the United States to realize the gravity of the situation. In 2 days, President Truman decided to send in soldiers to help, under the claim that he was sending ships and planes at the request of the United Nations Security Council, instead of waiting for a declaration of war from Congress. The Korean War lasted for 3 years, ending in July 27, 1953. It was a remarkable sacrifice. Statistics show that 36,914 Americans lost their lives in this attempt to save South Korea from having to submit to the tyranny of the North Korean rulers. Some say that a total of 5 million people lost their lives in the conflict. In spite of its short span, it truly was a full war, unlike some claims that say it was a skirmish or police action, not a war. Though it is not widely recognized, the war has greatly influenced the modern world. South Korea would be united with North Korea and heavily influenced by China communist ideals. It could have even ended back in Japanese control. The war had a great effect on modern powers. If it was not won, the Eastern Hemisphere would be a different place and possibly have led to unnecessary wars. Unfortunately, the veterans did not get recognized. Kelly Everett, a Korean War veteran, states, and I quote, "Well, it was after the big one, World War II, and a lot of soldiers that came out of Korea never got the benefits or the just treatment that they should have gotten from being what they called, at that time, battle shocked or battle fatigued," end quote. In spite of the fact that little was remembered or even known about the war, veterans of Korea truly made an impact, and their legacy will be recognized nonetheless. The Korean War was important and should be remembered in the history of the world, and we should honor the veterans that sacrificed their lives and time. Thank you.
Hey, you bet, Troy. Thank you. Now, Troy, you're there behind that flag, or that flag's behind you. I said it here, not said it right. Is there significance to the flag? Is it, how'd you get it?
I've got a lot of friends that are in the United States Marine Corps, and I'm planning on joining the Marine Corps. So a sergeant major from the Marine Corps who is deployed in like Iraq and for his combat tour, he gave me the flag.
Cool, that's nice. That's nice. That's neat. You know, as you're talking about it, Vietnam and Korea were so similar in the treatment of the veterans. Like you're saying, it was lost to people. We had the Vietnam, not riots. You know, there are a lot of people that were against Vietnam and our involvement there. Same thing with Korea. All right, what y'all observe? Here's another occasion and people that were involved in it. How'd Troy do?
I really liked how he tried to give like a lot of attention to a topic that usually doesn't get a lot of recognition.
Yeah. And in the process, bringing honor to those that feel neglected. Yeah. Someone else. Cedric, or who else is out there? Emma.
Yeah, we can do mine.
What'd you like?
Oh, I thought you were talking about my video.
No, I'm saying, what'd you like about Troy? And then
Yeah, no, I thought it was cool the flag in the background, and then just how we should honor the veterans after these wars, you know, that all of them go out and fight, whether we like the outcome or not, you know.
Yeah, you bet. And you mentioned part of what I'm going to talk about in that extra video about setup. You know, you think of the background. If you do something like that, you think of what was the movie? Patton, wasn't it? And the movie starts with him in front of that big flag there. You know, you're looking for a media event of some form. Cool, good stuff. Now, I think that's the last video that I received. If someone else has set one in since then, I haven't been in to see in Teams. Who else is here that's ready to present your talk?
I'm ready to present.
Now, it could also be someone who's uploaded their video and they could see, but Zach, you're ready to do it.
Yeah, but I got my manuscript and I'm ready to go. So.
Okay. Well, compose yourself and do it whenever. Is this a talk 3, talk 4? Which one?
This is talk 4.
Talk 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
You got the floor when you're ready. Take your time.
Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start with reading Psalm 23:4, which says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me." These are the words from one of the most essential people of the faith in the Bible, King David. Today, we celebrate the life of King David, who will have humble beginnings and eventually be a piece of the puzzle that is the Messiah known as Jesus Christ. David was the youngest boy of Jesse. David started his life as a shepherd. He will eventually imprint his legacy when he defeated Goliath as a boy only using a slingshot. He will become a great warrior and be atoned king of Israel and the Spirit of God to be a part of him. However, David experienced great trials when Saul was filled with envy for David and chased David across the nation. Despite being a true warrior and being nicknamed a man after God's own heart, he made mistakes along the way. One big mistake that will be remembered is when he committed adultery with the wife of one of his loyal soldiers and proceeded to get him killed. While his mistakes were great, God gave David grace by allowing him to maintain his lineage of the promised Messiah by giving him a son named Solomon. Though I never met the man personally, I can feel what he is feeling through God's word. As Hebrews 4:12 says, the word of God is alive and active. We can see the account of his life in the books of 1st and 2nd Kings and 1st and 2nd Samuel. But we can experience David's true dependence on God through the Psalms. David in the Psalms expresses true emotion, whether through praise or lament. David wanted to be with God. David relates to me because God shows grace in David's life through the Psalms. I want to end with quoting a personal passage from the Psalms, Psalm 51:10 through 3, which says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and uphold me with a willing spirit. Then I will teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will return to you." David will be remembered for his great dependence onto the Lord, and because of his faithfulness, despite his mistakes, will cause him to maintain the promise of the King Messiah known as Jesus Christ. Today, we remember not just a king, but a servant of the truth King.
Good stuff. Comment, someone. Julie or Emma out there. How'd Zach do? Somebody.
I really like how he talked about David, which is something I wouldn't have thought about, like talking about someone from the Bible, and how he used a lot of scripture that you could tell meant a lot to him.
Yeah. You think of when a talk like this could have been done, you do it in Awana, the council time where you're maybe introducing somebody who's acting in character. Now David comes out. It'd be a number of places you could use something like that context. You're going to introduce and honor that person that's in scripture. Somebody else. What else you observe about Zach and his presentation?
I like how he related to David and how he made David himself kind of relatable, showing that he was a person and he needed so much grace from God, and how that can be an example for us.
Yeah. Here's another person now in scripture who, not a perfect man at all, but he humbled himself before the Lord and God used him. So definitely someone to learn from. We could. Someone else ready to give talk number 4 that's here? Or you have your video to show to us.
I have my video.
Good, Chloe. Now, did I not show yours?
No, you didn't.
Did you happen to upload it for some reason?
Yeah,
No.
it's on Teams.
Well, sorry, I don't have it. You're going to give it, or you're going to show your video? Do whichever.
I'm going to show my video. Just give me a second to get it up.
Yeah, take your time. And this is a talk 3 or 4? Probably talk 4?
Yes, talk 4.
Okay.
And for some reason, it is not working.
Oh. You see, it's in Teams. Oh, Zephaniah's got his video in, or you're having trouble. You're having trouble joining. Uh-oh. There we are.
We can't hear her. You need to turn the sound on.
Yeah, Chloe, we can't hear there.
Unless Chloe, you would like to. Oh, Chloe, you're saying Chloe, if you'd like to narrate over your own video, that could also work.
Lip sync it. There you go.
We all have a mentor, someone who is very important to us. Mine certainly is to me. Her name is Joanne Williamson, and though she died before I was born, her work is still motivating. Here's why. A Christian, Joanne Williamson is best known as a historical fiction author. She spent years of her life dedicated to sharing the past in a new light. Her books are still being eagerly read. Joanne succeeded in sharing her faith through her talent, and she spent time making sure that her books were as little fiction as possible. Joanne's two most popular books are Hittite Warrior and God King. Hittite Warrior is set in ancient Israel during the time of God's judges, specifically Deborah. It is a riveting tale. God King explains God's miraculous salvation of Judah from the Assyrians and discusses King Hezekiah's godliness in the face of great trials, all through the lens of a widely unheard of king of Egypt. These two books of hers are my inspiration and were the first biblical fiction books I ever read. Joanne Williamson said about the writing of God King, I first came across an Egyptian king called Daharka in the Bible story of King Hezekiah and the saving of Jerusalem from the Assyrians. Never having heard of him, I was curious. I looked through the histories of Egypt and found what I could. Very little. What I found gave a picture of a remarkable character. I found myself caught up in a fascinating might have been story and decided to tell it. Joanne Williamson spent an incredible amount of time researching for each book. She wrote with care and crafted each story and character remarkably well. She used her God-given talents to share her faith with the world. She proved that our faith is worth hard work, and that making sure things are factual, although it can be challenging, is significant. She taught us that we need to use the talents that God has given us for His glory, no matter the cost. Joanne is significant to me because I am also a writer. When I was about 10 years old, I started writing my first book. I came up with a vague idea and started writing. It failed miserably because I didn't know who the characters were or what the story was. I did no planning or research. Joanne's book showed me just how important both really are. She encouraged me to not be afraid of running down dead-end lanes, as long as I stay true to what really happened. Joanne Williamson was a thoughtful writer, an amazing researcher, an inspiration to anyone with a calling. She persevered through tedious research, persevered through the hardships of writing a novel, persevered to share the facts and spread the word through the talents God gave her.
Very good. Thank you, Chloe. All right, let's have a couple people give some feedback. How was it honoring? What did she do that was that art of painting a picture for us of this person that's not there? What did she do?
I liked how, even though this wasn't someone you knew personally, you talked about how they had a personal impact on you.
Yeah. Yeah, the way you started, this is my mentor, passed away before I was born. I go, okay. You can set a good context for us, a curiosity. Someone else.
I like how she described the work of the author because I'm not familiar with that person at all, but I feel like now I have a better understanding of who she is and what she was like, which was cool.
Yeah, and a challenge to engage not just with the words, but with the author and the process too, because that's what you were learning. You gave that personal example and then picked up these books and go, how did they do it? And so she was your mentor. Joanna was your mentor. Very good. Someone else is ready to do talk number 4 that's online today, or you have your video like Chloe and able to show it. All right, everybody else, get your videos up if if I didn't present them today, get them up in Teams as soon as you can, or send me a video. I know Emma, you're sending the video in another form, which is just great, just as long as we get it and make sure we can honor the work that you do. Talks 1, 2, 3, and 4, if I could just review them. They're short. There's not a lot of content when you compare to a long speech where you got to prepare it a lot. We tend to blow them off as not that important and we get up and wing it. Don't. The challenge is really take that responsibility of those couple minutes that you have, 1 to 3 to 5 minutes maybe, to set a stage for either the next speaker or for the event or to honor the person or the occasion that you're talking about. It's something we really can do and do well. I think of the son, Carl, one of Carl's sons. Well, both of them got up and spoke. They did different things. One remembered mom and her funeral. She had passed away, and that was Carl's mom. So it was their grandparent. And he mirrored that with Carl, my wife's father-in-law, who stepfather-in-law, who just passed away. And so there gave some history there with it. The other son got up in a totally different context. He was a singer, and dad was a singer. Carl was a singer. So, we come out of our own context, but we want to make sure we set the stage for the other and definitely give honor to the occasion and others. So do them well. Do these short talks well. Well, let's take another break, another 10-minute break. I'm going to set up my PowerPoint, and we're going to talk about outlining for longer talks. Yes, you've done outlines before, but let's talk about how we do outlines for a talk, a long talk. Just a few different things we need to think about. Let's go dark here for a little bit, and then we'll be back in a few minutes. Take a break. All right, gang, we're back. Emma, I got your email, and now I figured out where it was. I just sent you an email back that I couldn't find it. Send it again. Don't send it. I just found it, and I'm going to play it. Sorry, you sent it through a different form, and I forgot to check it back there. Oh, hang on a second. All right, so I did have one more to show. Let me make sure I get the right screen up. No. Now I'm going to need somebody's help here. I loaded my PowerPoint, but I'm going to go back to my screen that has Emma's video there. Do I have to get rid of the PowerPoint somehow? Josh, you've been helping. Are you there back up?
Oh, yes.
Or somebody?
Let's see. I'm thinking you might, if you're in presentation mode, you might have to exit the slideshow. You wouldn't have to exit out of the window with a PowerPoint. You just probably have to turn off the exit the presentation. Does that make sense?
Is that something I do in Teams?
Hold up. Let's see. I'm thinking. Are you in PowerPoint right now?
Yeah. What are you seeing now?
Now we see her. Yep.
You see Emma?
Yep. I see somebody, so I'm assuming Emma.
Yeah, that's Emma Cathcart. So Emma, we're back up. Let me make it a bigger screen and make sure I've got the sound on. All right, here's Emma Cathcart doing her talk.
You did close out the video.
Uh-oh.
You stopped.
You accidentally stopped sharing. Yep, you accidentally stopped sharing the screen.
All right, Josh, or somebody, what am I doing wrong here? What are you saying? You aren't seeing her?
At this point, you stopped screen sharing, so we just see pictures and cameras with people. So if you start sharing your screen again, you hopefully can get her up.
All right, so if I go back to screen share, are you seeing Emma now?
We're seeing her.
If I go there, are you still seeing her?
Yep.
Good, let's start it over again and hope this works.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emma Cathcart.
Perfect.
I am honored to meet you here live in Midtown Manhattan. Today, we have the joy of coming together and commemorating those who have excelled beyond all measure in theater excellence this year. The Antoinette Perry Award for Excellence in Broadway Theater, commonly known as the Tony Award, is the highest U.S. theater honor. This award was established in 1947 and has been bringing the most accomplished Broadway actors and actresses together ever since. Today, it is my pleasure to announce to you our winner for Best Performance for a Leading Actress in a Musical. Our nominees this year are Adrienne Warren in the Tina Turner musical, Karen Olivo in the Moulin Rouge musical, Elizabeth Stanley in Jagged Little Pill, and Julie Vanderwaty in The Wizard of Oz. Well, all of these ladies are without a doubt talented beyond all measure. One performance transcended the rest. Our winner this year showed steadfastness and zeal in every performance. She brought to life a new side to a familiar character. Our winner for the best performance for a leading actress in a musical this year is Julie Vanderwaty from The Wizard of Oz.
Very creative there, Emma. Good job. She built up the drama, did she not? Somebody make a comment. What'd you like?
Yeah, I think she built up the drama really good, and also she had a really good voice the whole time when she was reading that.
Yep. Definitely let us know the background, and then the competition. She listed each of those that were in the running. Anybody else a comment? One more. Jacob, what'd you like? I'm going to call on Jacob. Are you on? Just turn on your mic there. Go ahead.
What stood out to me was the same thing as you just said. Is she mentioned the different people that were up for the award and the different things that they're in, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no negative about any of them, but yet, wow, that's tough competition. That's what you're saying, as you know different people, and then definitely honored the individual. Julie, way to go, Julie. There you go. Appreciate everybody's creativity. Now, is anyone else there? Did I miss anyone that is ready to either present your talk in person here, or you have your video you could share with us? All right, then let me go see if I can get my PowerPoint back up here. Are you seeing the video now or not? Maybe not.
I'm currently seeing your PowerPoint slide. How do I organize my talk outlining? Is that what you want?
Yeah, so I need to go,
Now I'm seeing her video. Now I'm seeing.
All right, I hit the wrong button. All right, I loaded the PowerPoint slide. Sorry for the learning process here. And how do I get it the whole screen? Now I'm seeing across the top. You all, are you just seeing, what are you all seeing? Are you seeing the PowerPoint slide and just my little icon at the bottom?
I'm seeing a PowerPoint slide for most of my screen, and then one side has people on cameras.
People on camera. Is there
like that's like, do you have a little scroll bar kind of right on the very top of your screen?
No, I have down the side.
Does it have like multiple like little pictures of ways to show things?
Yeah, it has you all across the top.
So we're on the top. There's when I shared last time, there was like a little when you were sharing, it automatically popped up a little settings. Oh, I'm trying to figure out what best to call it. Like a little toolbar that had like different ways you could share
there we
things.
Go. I can move it.
If you hover your mouse over them, I think it'll tell you some of them. So one of them is probably full screen or something of that variety.
Ah.
Are you seeing what I'm thinking?
Well, it says presenter mode, and it's either content only or standout.
So standout puts your camera on the thing. Content only, I think, is probably what you want.
Well, I'm clicking on that, and what do you all see?
Same thing as before. Either way, it's totally fine, I think.
All right, I'll just press ahead rather than wasting time. How do we organize our talk? Outlining. You've all done outlining with other classes throughout the years, I for sure. Let me get to my notes. How do we organize ourselves? Some of us, when we think of organizing a paper or a talk, just sit down at the desk and do it, or stand up and do it. We have thoughts in our minds, and we just start writing. Others of us, and the same thing with talking. We get up and just start talking. We have a rough outline in our mind. My oldest daughter was she went to Bethel University up in St. Paul and became an English teacher and taught for a few years in the public school, and was required to write lesson plans, but she hated it. Now, she was a good teacher, but she did most of what she did in her mind. She was very organic when it came to talking and teaching and writing. Some of us are like that, and that's a strength that we have. We're good at quickly organizing in our mind and going with that organization, whether it's writing an essay or speaking in public. But then there are others of us, and I'm the opposite of my oldest daughter. I'm more mechanical. Yeah, I can get up, but I've got to have an outline. And if I don't know where I'm going, I just don't go there. I don't know where I'm going. And so there are organic speakers, and there are mechanical, if I could use those two opposite words. Don't disparage what you are. It's a strength that you have. But my older daughter always did so much better if she wrote down an outline for her lesson plan or for her talks. And I'm a better speaker if I can get some freedom from my outline. All right, just think of what I said. Some of us, we write an outline, but we really didn't have to. It's off there. We don't even look at it. We just get up there and we're a little bit better with the gift of gab, is the way some people describe it. But then there are others of us that we get up and we're sort of note bound. We read it a lot. Okay, that's good because we say exactly what needs to be said and we craft our words better. That doesn't mean someone that stands up can't on the spot, but if they had more time, they'd do better. My daughter always did better, and I would do better, though, if I got away with, get a little freedom from my notes. We need to know what we're like. Organic speakers sometimes come across as unprepared, and mechanical come across as over-prepared, and we just read our notes. Now, you're going to hear, maybe here at Calvary, or you've already been exposed to a lecture series. When a person does a lecture series, they read their notes. They read their paper. But even when they do, they'll stop every once in a while and put an extra little note in the side and get some eye contact. But basically, they're reading. You know, I was just at a conference down in Dallas in December, and a number of the people, Dr. Ice gave a presentation, Dr. Fruchtenbaum gave a presentation, and they all read the papers that we had and looked at. Lecture series are a little bit more mechanical. Then you see a preacher and boy, he just doesn't need notes. He wanders all over the place, looks at his Bible, but I don't see any notes. All right, there's some extremes that we've all seen and we're going to see, and we have to appreciate the context. But how do we outline? One outline form that we use is for a very short talk. Organizing for short talks, introductions, an acceptance, award, commemorate, things that we've just done. How do I outline it? Well, you knew the outline was very short. It was simple. You begin by scribbling down your main point, your thesis. You jot down some points that you want to make, and then you write out an outline and a quick manuscript from it. If you had to do an exercise, and I sometimes do this in class when we're all together, take out a little scrap of paper and quickly jot down, you have to introduce your grandparents. And somebody just asked you to do that at the last minute. Well, what would you do? You've just done a talk to introduce. Well, you take out a scrap of paper and you think, all right, what is it about them that I want to focus on? And what are some examples of that? And you're going to jot that all down. I call this a jot outline, a jot list. J-O-T is the word. And it's not real formal. It maybe just has a word that guides my thinking, like we started with there for these outlines. I said you could use the word background and qualifications and criteria, but then you wrote out more when you wrote out the manuscript. But I don't have time for manuscript. Well, I should still outline what I'm thinking about. Now, I don't have, you can't see what I've done here on this piece of paper. This is a jot outline that I used. You can't see it in detail on the front and the back. A number of years ago, we had one of our students, Weeby is his last name, he was one of my pastoral studies guys in the college. He and a cousin in the summer home on vacation, going down a gravel road, probably a little too fast. He wasn't driving, the cousin was. They slid off the road, hit a telephone pole, and cut the car in two, basically, and killed them both on the spot. A number of us went down to the funeral. We took a bus from the school, went down there, and as I'm sitting in the bus, it was down north of Wichita, here in Kansas, and I was saying, if I had the opportunity to speak, and we knew that we were going to do that, they had an open mic time. I definitely gave this, I didn't get up and talk, but I want to prepare myself. All the students got up, and so I wanted to make sure they talked about him. But I focused on an aspect of it. He always smiled. Even when he was angry, he smiled. So everybody else focused on that too. That was a common theme. But then his character, we talked about, and the experiences that we had. But the focus we're talking about here is I might have a short amount of time to prepare. Yes, I could do it in my head. Probably do better if you jotted some things down so you had some notes in front of you, but it's very minimal. So you can do an outline that's called a jot outline. You sketch out the list, then sketch out maybe some sentences or phrases, and then you give your talk. Now I had these here and I didn't realize all I had. You aren't going to share the list with your neighbor though. That's for a short talk. You sketch out your sentences, what would you say, and then present it. But what about for a long talk? Well, for here, you want to identify your main idea and start laying out main points from that. As you've done your research about the topic, imagine a funnel. You've thrown all that information into the funnel at the top. And then as you look it through, you're wanting to identify what is my main idea? What is the point? What's the through line that I want to communicate to this audience and for the purpose that I want to accomplish? I want to inform them about my topic. I want to explain how to do the topic. I want to persuade them to be involved with the topic, with the subject. But right at this point, we're just thinking of the outline. I put all the information into that funnel. In the center, I come with my outline, my through line, and then the bottom. And now I'm thinking of an hourglass, a funnel that extends into an hourglass. In the bottom, now I'm opening up my outline and starting with an outline. Then I add supporting material, media, and then I refine and edit across the bottom. So I'm ready to speak. But identify main points, those main topics. It could be words that I want to use. Now, here's the main idea that for a sample talk. The major uses of hypnosis are to control pain in surgery, to help people stop smoking, and to help students improve their academic performance. Those are the three things I learned about the major use of hypnosis today. Notice I've got 3 points. There's my outline. One main use of hypnosis is to control pain. A second use is to help people. All right, so you see how it works. And notice what we're going to emphasize here. Though you might start with a word, first one, or a phrase, control pain, second, stop smoking, third, improve performance in academics. But for my outline in a long talk, I eventually want to write out a full sentence. It's like a sub-main point, main idea, through line for that section of the outline, that section of the talk. I have one overall main idea that flows through the whole talk, but that main idea is then broken down into parts, and I talk about the first part, and I talk about the second part, and you can see that 3 parts in the talk right there, and that the way that main idea was written. Let me make a footnote. I could have written the main idea differently. There are 3 major uses of hypnosis today. That's a very legitimate main idea. When the people come away from the talk, they were informed, oh, now I know there are 3 ideas or 3 major uses. I chose to include those, so I can write a little longer main idea and includes them. Didn't add anything in one sense, but I definitely gave more information that they could remember. The shorter is more memorable. All right, my main idea needs to be a memorable statement, brief if I can, but my outline communicates my main idea. So more than just a word out to the side, background, first idea, second idea, I want you to write in your outlines a full sentence for each main point. So let me go a little further. There's my purpose to inform, and this is how I wrote my main points. Hypnosis is used in surgery as an adjunct. Notice is a little different, a little different than the main idea statement because it's adding a little bit more information. Second one, same thing. Third, but I've written out a full sentence. When I speak as well as when I write an essay about this, I'd write out those full sentences. When I speak, people hear and listen in true statements, and true statements come in full sentences. So you could start your outline with just a word or a phrase as you're trying to craft, well, what am I going to say? Well, these are the 3 points I need to say, and it comes right from my main idea. But then I want you to write out a full sentence main idea, main points, a full sentence for your main idea, full sentences for each of the main points, not just words. Let's go to another example. developed as a highly efficient form of energy. Now that's a dependent clause. That's not where the main idea is. Hydrogen fuel cells. Ooh, there's the subject. There's my topic, hydrogen fuel cells. Use, there's the verb, sophisticated technology and offer a number of economic and environmental benefits. I've got at least 2 points with that idea, isn't it? Now, let me go to the next step. I'm going to add in my purpose, an informative talk to inform my audience about the development technology. All right. Another thing I want you to do with your outlines, write out your purpose statement. It's given for each of the talks what the purpose is, but you're going to add more to it. It's a talk to inform. Now, it's not a sentence. It's an infinitive phrase. To inform, to explain, to persuade are 3 purposes for our talks. But then say a little bit more. Now, what you're doing with this purpose statement is, all right, with this talk and this main idea, this is what I want to do with it. So I want to inform my audience about and when I write that second part of the purpose statement, it takes me back up to my main idea because it echoes it. Now, you probably are not going to say the purpose statement in your talk. It's something you use when you're writing, because when you get done with your outline, you're going to ask yourself, did I inform my audience about the development, technology, and benefits of hydrogen cells? And if you didn't accomplish your purpose. And your purpose is seen through your outline and the word, the content that you put into it. Sometimes, here's another sub-point, keep in mind when you write your purpose statement after writing your main idea, you're going to find, why did I use different wording in my purpose statement than I used in my main idea? Because you're still processing it all in your mind. I just know that's what happens sometimes. So if you end up, your purpose statement doesn't sound exactly, now it's not the same reflection, you don't just cut and paste, but you can see that it's a little less than the main idea. If I'm using different wording, I have to ask myself, is the wording I just wrote a little better? All right, so it's a good check on us as we're writing it. But you need to identify clearly what's your purpose. Your purposes are given for these talks, but in the future, when you're asked to speak, you want to have your purpose real clearly in mind. All right, there's the main idea. There's my purpose that I want to accomplish, and here's the outline. Hydrogen cells are developed to provide a highly efficient form of energy, produce power through hydro. Now look at the outline. Notice that which the people are going to hear. I'm going to actually say these main point statements. I'm writing them out so I can say them. Same thing with the main idea. You better say your main idea in your introduction somewhere completely, or you say it at the end in the conclusion. You write this, except for the purpose statement, you're going to say all these sentences because that's what the content that's going to be communicated to the listener. They're going to hear you say hydrogen fuel cells were developed to provide a highly efficient form of energy. It's a fact, and they can grasp it, as opposed to, let's just talk about energy, form of energy first. Now, there's a possibility you could do something like that, but I found that I get away from a clear statement and then I just talk about it, but I never really say the truth about it. Let's go to another one. The ways that I structure my outline, just to throw out some options for you, you think of deductive. What's deduction? It's I put out the idea and then break it down in parts. In a deductive arrangement to an outline, the idea is stated completely as part of the introduction of the talk. And then the talk develops out of that idea. Let me give you an example. Well, let me go back. I need to cut and paste it in there. This is deductive. I've said the main idea in the introduction, and now I'm saying it again. In a deductive, I say the whole main idea in my introduction. I could also say it semi-inductively, where in the introduction, I present only the subject, not the entire idea, and the major points complete the subject. Now, the example that I gave before, no, here's a different one, excuse me. Making stained glass windows requires a 4-step process. Did I identify the 4 steps? I was thinking of the outline that I gave earlier that had 3 points that were in the main idea. Here you don't have the 4 points. I could have put it in, but that makes an awful long, clunky, you wouldn't probably hear it well. So you've got this topic that I'm going to inform them about early. And then the points. The first step is, notice this is the talk to, it says informed, but really I've got almost an explaining outline there. Let's put the last type up. The inductive, deductive, inductive. In an inductive talk, it moves toward a complete statement of the main idea at the end. You don't hear it. You might even hear just a question at the beginning. Most talks at least introduce the topic that you're going to talk about so that people know what to listen for. Most speakers, I think, could say probably use deductive instead of inductive, but there are good times to use inductive. What does God think about evil? There's an idea, a question rather. God has an answer for evil, but you don't know what it is, and maybe there's other options. And I give my points throughout the talk, and at the end of it, I put it all together in my main idea. All right, let's see, give an example here. Puppy mills are a serious problem that can be solved by a combination of legislation and individual initiative. At the beginning in the introduction, I'm going to talk about puppy mills, you know, where you're just growing puppies, raising puppies, growing puppies, raising puppies, you know, without a strong concern for the genetics and the rest. I'm going to inform them that actions needed to combat the abuses of, all right, I know where I'm going, but I start out with 1, puppy mills are a serious problem. Oh yeah, cool. Second, here's my real purpose I'm touching on with my second one. Solving the problem requires legislation and individual initiative. And I could maybe even have a third, but I don't with this one, where I talk about those specific initiatives, definitely sub-points to that third one. Now, I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm just rattling on here. I don't have a class in front of me, so I'm wondering if anybody has a question, please stop or yell, or I don't know if you're waving a hand or putting a note up. Anybody? Let's take outlining a little further. Most effective order of your outline depends on 3 things: your topic, your purpose, your audience. We can order our outline, depending on the topic, chronologically through time. Now, you got to think of the concept I'm talking about has a time element to it. The Great Wall of China was built in 3 major stages. Oh, that's time, different periods of history. And for sure enough, well, my talk to inform, the building of the first point, the building of the Great Wall during the Ming Dynasty. The building that began, I forgot the verb, that first sentence. It's a full sentence. Each of your main points are full sentences written out. The second, the new sections of the Great Wall were added during the Han Dynasty. And the third, so you can see the chronology, the time. Now let me throw another tidbit in. Between each main point and from your introduction too, there needs to be a transition statement. I come to the end of my my introduction, for example, and I've introduced my idea. The Great Wall of China had 3 major stages. And then I'm going to make the statement something like, let's talk about the first one. Well, that's a transition. It's get the people's minds to move to my first point. I get to the end of my first point. Up, come on, back up. I'm making it up off the top of my head, so I'm fumbling a little bit. The Qin Dynasty is followed by what dynasty? Well, it's the Han Dynasty. New sections of the Great Wall were added during the Han. All right, that sounds a little rough. I'd want to refine that a little bit more. Transition statements is what I'm talking about. Need to go after the introduction to move the people's thinking toward the first point, and then you say that first point, and then a transition statement after your first point to move them to the second, after the second to move to the third. All right, we'll come back and talk about transitions. That really helps you to move. It also reminds the people as you're talking, sometimes they have outlines in front of them. You know, a teacher gives you a study outline or a lecture outline in front of you, and so you can see where he's going. But in a lot of other settings, they don't have anything. So you have to use what you say to help them. And there's where transition statements help. Chronologically, ordering. And here in this case, to explain or to show how, laser-assisted corrective eye surgery involves 3 major steps. And there's my purpose to inform them about those 3 corrective eye surgery steps. First, second, third, and I actually talk about what that first step is. I actually say it. First, a thin layer sliced off the surface of the eye to expose the cornea. Well, having taken off the cornea, what's next? Second, an ultraviolet laser is used to reshape the cornea. I can structure my outline chronologically to help the people think through time as I'm giving the talk, because that's the nature of the main idea. The most effective order of your outline depends on 3 things: your purpose, your audience, and the topic. Spatial ordering. A hurricane is made up of 3 parts going from inside to out. So I'm now asking them to think not of time, but to actually imagine it. Now you can think of the graphics that I would use, the pictures I'd use, a video clip so they could see this. I'm going to inform my audience or explain, really I should probably use that word here, to explain the structure of a hurricane. And now you can see the points. At the center of the hurricane is the calm, cloud-free eye. Secondly, surrounding the eye, I'm writing my points to help them to see that structure. I hope you see that in the outline. I use my outline not only to communicate truth, but now, in this case, to help them to see dimension, help them to see time or to think time with that other one. A causal ordering. What caused something? The growing shortage of certified air traffic controllers threatens the safety of air travel. Wow, I've made a claim. Is that true? I want to persuade my audience that a growing shortage of qualified travelers is a serious problem. And here's my 2 points. The U.S. aviation faces a growing shortage. If this shortage continues, so notice the one, and the first one, my subpoints of point 1 would be to set out 1, 2, 3 different reasons with evidence that that system is growing a shortage. And then my subpoints to item 2, if this shortage continues, it'll create serious problems. And I'll list the 1, 2, or 3 and supporting evidence, A, B, and C really for outline purposes. Another form of an outline, again, depending on my topic, audience, and purpose, is a problem solution. You remember the puppy mill example earlier? That's a problem, point 1, solution, and then subpoints that go with it. Topical ordering. The major kinds of fireworks are skyrockets, Roman candles, pinwheels, and lances. Now, I'm using this from a student a number of years ago. His family, every July 4th, they have a marketing business, and one of the things they market throughout the year is fireworks. And so he described the tent that they set up every year and the fireworks and what they did. So here's different topics. The skyrockets explode high. The Roman candles shoot out. No, doggone it. Wrong. And pinwheels and lances. So his 4 points are around these topics to explain them with subpoints appropriately under each Roman numeral. Now, some basic principles of outline that you've heard before in other classes that describe outline. Nothing can be divided into fewer than 2 parts. If you only have 1 point, that's your main point. So an outline usually has 2 at the minimum. Why 3? Pastors preach 3 points in most sermons. Why? There's just a sociological comfort with 3. 2 doesn't seem to be adequate. 4 and 5 seems too many. Now, again, there's nothing magical about it, but there sure is to no more less than 2. The corollary you can see is your subpoints. If you have a 1 subpoint, you need to have 2, or you're really just, that's your main point, meaning if you didn't have an A and B. Same thing with a sub point. That's one of the rules of outlining. Another one, each heading and subheading should preserve parallel structure. This is especially important, not as important in writing, but it's especially important in speaking. People don't see your outlines, they don't see the words, so they need to hear them. And that's why you write your main points to be said. So they're going to hear the structure. If the first heading is a noun, the second heading should be a noun. If the first is a verb, the second should be a verb. Let me give you an example. Here it's the question, the topic question is, how do I get into college, get accepted to college or apply to college? You apply to college with two primary steps. Choose, notice this is an imperative statement. You can speak to the audience. Don't do that in your essays, but you do that when you're talking. First, choose the desired colleges that you want to apply to. Second, prepare the applications. Now, you need to write these sentences out a little bit more, but they're sufficient in what they were. All the information contained in heading 1 should have the same significance. The previous one is both were verbs. Didn't emphasize that. All the information in heading 1 should have the same significance as the information in heading 2, meaning the same goes for subheadings. So let's look at this. Visit and evaluate college campuses. Visit and evaluate college websites. Two different topics. Notice the parallelism between point Roman numeral 1 and Roman numeral 2. And now I'll go to sub A and B for Roman numeral 2. Note important statistics about that on that website. Look for interesting classes on that website. So you're staying in the same realm as the main point with your subpoints. The information in the heading should be more general, while the information in subheadings should be more specific. And here's an example. Describe an influential person in your life. No, that's an imperative statement. And we're listing a favorite high school teacher, grandparents. A favorite teacher and a grandparent are specific examples of influential people. I'm just reading my notes there. Each heading should be divided into 2 or more parts. I've already said that. The amount of time devoted to main points should be balanced. And this is a harder one to look at, but you can determine that with your outline. The more outline you have, the more easy to see that. If you just have a topic, you could ramble all over the place and really take too much time with one point and not give balance to the others. And I'd say you weren't as effective in your communication. You're going to lose your audience if you spend way too much time on one point. They're not going to see the connection. Because each of your main points are important, make sure they all receive enough emphasis. Here's an example that's not good. 85% with your first point, only 10 and 5%. Wow, you either ran out of time or nothing to say. I'd want to revise my talk. You're going to end up with something a little bit more like this, 30, 40, 30, or maybe a 20, 30, 50. There's the most important point. Might be stretching a little bit there, but there's nothing saying they have to be 10%, 10%, 10% down for 10 points, or 30, 30, 30, and you're wondering where the other 10% are. Use transition words in your outlines, and this is where it comes in your TR, transition. And you're going to see that in the outline that I'm going to present you for how to write the talk outline. You're going to write in a phrase, now that we have a clear understanding of the first point, what's the second point? Or let's go to the second point, and then you actually say your second point or your third point. Keeping these points in mind, and you might even review or summarize, keeping in the points of the first and second, now let's move to the third. All right, these are transition statements, and they really help an audience. They bring them back if their minds wandered a little bit. They also help you summarize, oh, that's how that fits together, and you move on to your next point. You've said it already, but you're going to say it in a transition statement. Use signposts. Now, these are words that you actually write into your outline to help the audience to follow. So just how serious is the problem of, wow, I'm asking a question they should be asking. It's a signpost that you're raising up, a red flag. Be sure to keep in mind as well as the words you used. Above all else, therefore, in summation, so we use words to help people to think with us. Outlining. You're going to be doing longer outlines. You're only going to be doing an outline for talks 5, 6, and 7. And you could write a manuscript from it if you're a manuscript person. I would definitely accept that, but you don't have to. So you do have to write a good outline, though. I'm going to be a stickler about it, because that's until you've had it organized in your mind and put it down on paper, you're just going to wander. And so write your outlines well. Next week, we're going to come back and talk about how to do an introduction and how to do a conclusion for a longer talk, as well as how to use media. Think that through. For each of the talks, I'm going to ask you to use one media, meaning a PowerPoint or an object or a handout that you're going to make available to us or actually bring to class and we pass out. Because as you're giving talks, you aren't just standing there giving a talk like we did with our first 4. You're going to be moving around. You're going to be pointing to a picture. You're going to be stopping and not talking while a video plays. So we have to think that through and actually get some experience. And then introduce talk 5, talk to a 4. Any questions anybody has? Question about assignments, question about outlines? Question about whether the snow is going to happen anymore? I don't know the answer to that one. I actually got out over lunchtime and shoveled snow on our driveway. Yes.
Just to be clear, I'm allowed to use PowerPoints for talks 5, 6, and 7, correct?
Right. You can use media for all of them. Now you're looking at time, but yes, I want you to use PowerPoint at least once, but you could use it for all 3 of them. Yes, if that's what you're asking, Chloe. Sure. Those of you that are recording online, you're at home, you're not in school. In the classroom.
For all 3 talks. I mean, and you said we can use like PowerPoint for all 3, but do we have to have a separate one for each talk? No. So we could use like PowerPoint all 3 times as long as we have like 2 other things that we use as well, right?
Yeah, I want you to use all 4 of the media somewhere in the 3 talks. My suggestion is start with PowerPoint. PowerPoint's one of the media. I want you to use a video clip in one talk where you set up, introduce, and it's going to be either somebody doing something or someone who gives an example of what you just said, and you stop and you show that video and you transition back out of it. And then I want you to use either an object or a map or a schematic, something that you either hold in your hand and point to it and show us, or you go to a PowerPoint. It could be a picture in a PowerPoint where you actually stop and say, now look on this map, and you take us to a specific point on the map. It's different than the PowerPoint. It's more in-depth. What we're talking.
For the object, could you be like showing how to use something or how to do something and actually use like a...
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the students, I've had lattes made in class. I had a student make they brought cookies to class and showed us that. I had a student in the last class how to care for a potted plant and brought the plant, and they had to manipulate it. And you're giving a talk, you've got your notes, you've got this object. You're sort of like walking and chewing gum at the same time is what you got to do as a speaker sometimes. And then that last one is how to use a handout, something that you're going to pass out in class. Make sure you do that well. That's another thing. So there's 4 different kind of media. Use all of them just once, but you can use, you can repeat and do like Chloe asked, you can do PowerPoint in each one. Those that are at home, I know there's a limitation. How are you going to show PowerPoint? Well, we have the opportunity here in Teams for you to load a PowerPoint there. It's going to be a little bit different with the object. We have a problem with videos, with copyright. We can't show videos. So you're at home. If it's an original video of your own, you can show it. If it's a video you got off of YouTube, you have to just upload the link, and either I will stop the video from recording so we don't run into YouTube copyright issues. Yeah, but we're going to think through how to do that too. Anybody else a question? Well, the snow is not packable, so I can't say go out and have fun in the snow, and it's awful cold. But have a good day, and we'll see you all next week on Wednesday. Let me know any questions you have.
See ya.
Take care.
See ya.
Good
Thank
day.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dodds.
Hey, thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
Oh.